To TV Guide Close-Up, I'm your host, Madison Michelle. In this very special episode, I sit down with actress and author Jenny McCarthy for a very revealing and exclusive interview. The former Playmate discusses her early brush with the law, how she lost all that baby weight, and what she was thinking when she first met boyfriend Jim Carrey. We have the whole story next on Close-Up.
Hi, this is Jenny McCarthy, and this is my close-up. Hope it's good.
Jennifer McCarthy was born on November 1st, 1972 in Chicago, Illinois. Although this little girl from the Windy City was always outgoing, even becoming captain of her high school cheerleading squad, Jenny considered herself an outcast. After high school, she attended Southern Illinois University Carbondale to study nursing. Needing money to pay for tuition, she submitted her picture to Playboy magazine. In 1993, McCarthy was accepted by the magazine and appeared in their October issue. Jenny was an instant hit, ultimately becoming the magazine's Playmate of the Month and later, Playmate of the Year. With her popularity soaring, Jenny moved to Los Angeles. After a brief hosting stint on Playboy TV, McCarthy hit the American mainstream. In 1995, she was chosen from hundreds of candidates to host a new dating show on MTV, Singled Out. And once again, Jenny was a hit. Her quick wit and off-the-wall comedy impressed execs at the network. So much, in fact, they decided to give Jenny her own show, the appropriately titled The Jenny McCarthy Show. It would serve as a launching pad for her ill-fated NBC sitcom, Jenny.
My next series will be with Andy Dick.
Surprise!
Pray for cancellation!
After just 10 episodes, Jenny was canceled.
I'm sorry, guys.
But McCarthy maintained a presence on the small screen nonetheless. Over the years, she's guest starred in a number of popular series, including Wings, Home Improvement, The Drew Carey Show, Fast Lane, Just Shoot Me, Charmed, What I Like About You, Hope and Faith, Stacked, My Name is Earl, and Less Than Perfect, a show TV Guide channel visited in 2003 while she was filming an episode.
Quiet, everyone.
And her co-stars had nothing but nice things to say about her.
I just want to point out, Jenny McCarthy is a beautiful young woman who you think is very, sexy and swanky and cool looking, but she's this really down-to-earth mom. It's funny.
She's so great. She adds such a wonderful dynamic to the show because she just is truly shallow and horrible.
I just want to try on one more dress.
Which is great because it's not at all who she is.
She is so silly. So I love Jenny. Jenny's fun.
But of course, Jenny's done her share of movies as well. Some of her most notable films include Basketball, Diamonds,
I said, okay, something that's not a spoof.
The Perfect You,
The comedy of comedies, let me tell you.
Scream 3, Dirty Love, John Tucker Must Die,
I think people are really going to be surprised and, I don't know, really excited about the movie.
and the hugely popular comedy Scary Movie 3, which of course made
Lots and lots of money.
$198 million worldwide to be exact. The movie ended up being Jenny's biggest hit, in which she had a very small but memorable role.
Looking at Pamela Anderson and delivering these lines and knowing exactly how stupid and corny and bimbo-y they are, we had so much fun.
It's just funny to see each other again because I don't think there's a lot of girls who have been in Playboy or whatever that have gone on to any kind of acting. I mean, I have a lot of respect for her. I think she's great. And we're having a lot of fun together. We're cracking each other up. It's perfect. It couldn't be any better casting for me to do this with her. As soon as I found it was her, I was like, yes, I'm doing it.
Although Jenny boasts an impressive body of work, it's quite possibly her other body of work that she's most proud of.
I also wrote a book called Belly Laughs that will be out in May.
Busy, look at you. Just doing it all.
Busy mom.
It wasn't the first book Jenny wrote either. Back in 1997, the 25-year-old was celebrating the release of her biography, Gen X. But in 2002, Jenny was writing a whole new chapter in her life.
I had a baby.
That's what. Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
this.
He's a year and a half, and his name's Evan, and I love him very much.
With Evan as her inspiration, Belly Laughs became a New York Times bestseller. Since then, she's written 2 more books. The latest, Life Laughs, The Naked Truth About Motherhood, Marriage, and Moving On, includes a very candid tell-all about her public divorce from actor-director John Mallory Asher. But now, with funny man actor Jim Carrey in her life, it looks like Jenny may be putting pen back to paper sooner than she expected. And if she does, odds are it will be another bestseller.
Let me call my manager and see what's going on with my career.
Stay right where you are. Coming up next, my exclusive new interview with Jenny McCarthy. You won't believe what she tells me.
The police were there, I think, for a couple reasons.
Welcome back to TV Guide Close-Up. I'm Madison Michelle. I recently got the chance to sit down with actress Jenny McCarthy for an exclusive no-holds-barred interview. During our talk, the outspoken star revealed the shocking way she landed her breakthrough role on Singled Out and why she was happy her sitcom got canceled. But first, Jenny tells me what life was like before she made it to the big time. So Jenny, looking at you now, it's really hard to believe that you were ever an outcast in school starting out, but this is what I've read. Is that true?
You know, if you go to an all-girl Catholic school, you're gonna wind up being an outcast at some point in your life, and it was really, really difficult. I mean, girls would wait for me after school to beat me up, and
why were you a bad girl? Is that why they wanted to beat you up?
I was really, really into like my hair and looking very groomed. So, you know, I'm sure if you have pictures of me with big, my high school hair, I mean, it was so done that to go like that to an all-girl school, girls go, "What's wrong with you?" Right. So I was really made fun of for wanting to look like a girly girl.
So now, something that's so fascinating about you is that you actually wanted to be a nurse. I don't think a lot of people know that about you. Can you tell me about that and how you ended up in the entertainment industry?
You know, I had a lot of weird transitions of what I wanted to do for a living. The first thing I told my mom, I wanted to be a nun. And then after about kindergarten, I was like, what? Look at those outfits. No way. And then after that, I told her I wanted to be a teacher. And then after that, I said, you know, about 3rd grade, I wanted to be the movie star. I said, I want to be famous in Hollywood. Ooh. And then, you know, I grew up with not much money. So I went to college and thought, well, Hollywood's never going to happen. So I decided to, you know, just try education. And what I wanted to do was become a nurse. So I went to school for a couple years, but it didn't really work out because we didn't have much money. And so I was waitressing at a bar and trying to make ends meet, and nothing was working to raise money for tuition, so I wound up leaving.
Tell me about that transition from nursing school to Hollywood modeling.
Okay, so it was about 2 years into college, and there was a knock on my door, and my roommates came into my bedroom and said, "The police are here to arrest you." You know, I didn't know what to do other than flee the scene of the crime. So I crawled out my window and got my car and drove 6 hours back home. And when I got home, I cried to my mom and said, you know, I have to move back in. And once there, sitting there, you know, 20 years old going, God, I'm just a loser. I don't know what to do. And something in my heart and my head said, you have nothing to lose now. Why don't you give, you know, Hollywood a try? And that's when it all began.
Arrest you for what? Or was that a prank?
No. They were after me all right. The police were there, I think, for a couple reasons. One, I stole the parking pass that was very illegal. And the other one was bouncing checks, which was even more illegal. Although, you know, one of the things I managed to do was, you know, make out with boys late at night after the bar and go back to their place, but then tell them I'll be right back and go to their freezer and steal food and then leave.
Wow, that's a nice move.
Yeah, that's how the boys remember me.
I bet everyone remembers Jenny. Now don't you go anywhere, because later in the show, Jenny talks about her relationship with funny man Jim Carrey.
So I was sending him the love rays from across the room.
And up next, the actress reveals her worst moment. Thanks for tuning in to our exclusive close-up interview with Jenny McCarthy. I'm your host, Madison Michelle. After receiving national exposure for her nude pictorial in Playboy, Jenny attempted to conquer the small screen. But getting that chance to show what she could do with her clothes on wasn't as easy as you might think. So let's talk about your TV career a little bit. Tell me about your first big break in Hollywood and Singled Out.
My first break was silk stockings.
Really?
Dig up that footage. I think I remember my line. Let me try to remember it. I always dreamed of being the Rush magazine centerfold. There you go. That was the line.
I like it.
Actually, my first job was a local junkyard commercial I got in Chicago. That was my very first one. And then finally, what did it, as everyone knows, was MTV, Singled Out. And I remember seeing the like a fax come out of my manager's machine with a big MTV logo on the top of the paper, and I said, "What is that?" And he says, "Oh, they're looking for a female game show host. You don't want to do that. You want to act." I go, "Yeah, but this is really good to show my personality, you know?
Yes.
It's unlike what most people would think. Let me show the world, you know?" And so they wouldn't really let me audition MTV because I was a playmate.
Really?
Yeah, so they thought I would be unlikable to women. And so I basically kind of crashed the audition because it was like a cattle call. There was 400 girls that showed up. It was an American Idol audition for Singled Out. It was huge. And so I just kept going back, and I got to the callbacks where there was 16 people left, and that's when they realized I was the playmate trying to get in. And I just showed them my stuff. Showed them, you know, just kind of funny and goofy, and
Absolutely.
I got the job. They didn't even think I was going to go where I went on that show. I just remember saying to myself, God, when that red light on the camera goes on, I'm going to steal the show.
And that you did. You totally did.
I tried hard.
Now you had 2 shows with your name attached to them.
Well, I had the Jenny McCarthy show. They actually said to me, okay, we're going to give you your own show. You have 3 weeks to create it, and we're going to shoot it 22 episodes in 3 months, because after that show, we want to take you at this MTV Talking and bring you over to NBC. A lot of people think that my sketch show got canceled after 22, when really it didn't. It was MTV's move to kind of slide me into acting and then getting into network television, because MTV also did my NBC show. And then after we shot the 22, I went right into NBC's 22 pickup we got. And that was actually the hardest time of my life, because they tried to change me from who I am. And they cut my hair, put on sweaters. If you ever look in the first episode, I'm wearing like a double knit sweater up to here and tights, and I was very sweet. I am sweet, but there's a lot of sweet actresses out there. Get somebody that can show some edge. And anytime I try to do an edgy thing, they didn't want it. So, and my fans, you know, definitely let them know by slowly tuning out. We started off strong, and then by, I think, the 10th episode, we were canceled. And I remember getting the phone call. My manager came in, because I was dating him at the time, and he says, "Hey babe, the show just got canceled." And I said, "Thank God. I'm gonna go to sleep for a year." And I laid down, and I literally took almost a year off to rest because it was a crazy gravy train.
Wow.
Back then of, I called it the Jessica Simpson train. It was crazy. I mean, it was the cover Rolling Stone went on to a lifestyle that I wasn't prepared for, nor to this day do I want. I really like the train that I'm on,
When we come back, we take a trip down memory lane, TV Guide style.
I remember TV Guide coming back to me saying, we want to reshoot the cover. I was like, no, this looks beautiful. I'm leaving it.
And a little later, why Jenny's life is an open book.
I'm already so honest in the first one. Yeah. I go above and beyond. In that last one, you're just gonna go, no, she did it.
Welcome back to TV Guide Close-Up. In this episode, we're sharing my very special one-on-one interview with Playmate, TV host, actress, author, and yes, screenwriter Jenny McCarthy. That's right, as her fans already know, in 2005, the sexy star wrote her first movie, the outrageous comedy Dirty Love. But you might be surprised to learn what inspired Jenny to write it in the first place.
There weren't a lot of roles out there for, pretty comedic girls that will go where I want to go, So I did some pilots along the way, and then I wrote Dirty Love, which was actually a pilot for Fox that they wanted me to write, but they said it was too edgy. So I bought it back from them and wrote it and made it into a film, and we got accepted into Sundance. Amazing. And then had a small theatrical release, and now on DVD, and now it's like a cult classic with the kids everywhere I go. They're quoting that movie. And that I felt really proud of because I freaking wrote it.
Sure.
And starred in it. And how many people are doing that? Not many.
Not many.
Then I got pregnant, and that's when I started writing books. And that led to a whole career that I had no idea about that I plan on continuing to do. I think I'm going to start going to novels possibly, like dirty comedic Harlequin novels.
How exciting.
Like, what's that wart on your crotch, baby? Those are my kind of books.
2 images, you tell me what these mean to you, what you feel.
Love that cover. So many people came up to me after that cover and said, how did you do that? I go, I jumped. I just remember so many people saying the same thing. And it was such a fun summer cover. And even the layout inside is still one of my favorites. It very much represented who I am.
Excellent. It's a great shot at the height of your single days,
That
right?
one I have a great story about.
Oh, well, tell us.
Well, I'm wearing a wig in there on that one. It was the big hair issue. Some of those shots inside were still some of my favorites. But I remember TV Guide coming back to me saying, we want to reshoot the cover. And I said, why? And they said, because you're not smiling. And I said, no, I'm too tired. I was so busy shooting so many covers that I was like, no, this looks beautiful. I'm leaving it. And they, of course, left it. And you know what? I like that it's, and I'm not going,
right?
I like that it's more subdued.
Yes. A little bit subtle. Of course, Jenny still looks beautiful, but she had to work at it. Up next, how the former Playmate got her killer body back after the birth of her son.
Madonna.
our special profile on Jenny McCarthy. Although the actress is frequently given credit for her naughty sense of humor, let's be honest, she first became famous because of her looks and fantastic body. So when the former playmate packed on the pounds during her pregnancy, she had to find a way to shed the weight and keep it off. Let's go really quick to Weight Watchers and your weight gain during your pregnancy and how that all played out and came about.
You know, I really thought before I became pregnant, or as I became pregnant, I said, I am gonna be one of those cute preggers that you see in those cute clothes and they're really lean and they still look really pretty.
Basketball.
Oh yeah, just a bump and that's it. And something took over my body besides my child, and it was insane hunger. I just remember I'd eat a slab of ribs and a baked potato and everything else, and I'd still be hungry. I just could not get enough food in. So by the time I checked in the hospital, I was over 200 pounds.
And so how much weight had you gained?
God, at that time, total, before I gave birth, about 80 pounds.
Wow.
So I had about 60 to lose once I left the hospital.
Wow, so how did you lose it?
Well, you know, when I left the hospital and I came home with my baby, all I wanted to do was be with my little baby. And about a month later, I decided to look in the mirror to get some motivation. And so I took my clothes off and stood on the toilet and turned on the fluorescent overhead lighting to get a really good look at what fat really looks like. And it was horrific. It was horrible. I mean, it's really hard when you weigh that much and you realize it's not you. I felt like I kept saying like I had a fat suit that I want to unzip it and step out. And then I got a trainer, and a really, famous Hollywood trainer, and it wasn't working.
Really?
I worked out hard. I just had a chant. I talked about in one of my books. I just kept going, Madonna, 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 because she just got into shape so quick, and that chant wasn't working for me. So, I called my mom crying, saying, I don't know what to do. I'm never going to work again. And she said, I joined Weight Watchers. Why don't you give that a try? And I thought, how could my mom be telling me a diet plan when I live in Hollywood? I should know the best of the best secrets. So I thought, well, why not give it a try? And that's when I went to my first meeting. And I really could care less what people thought of Jenny McCarthy in the meeting. I'm like, hey, my butt's big and so is yours. Let's do it together. So we did, and we had a nice camaraderie with my group.
So after I delivered my son, I came home hoping that he was a 60-pound baby. He wasn't.
And how was it to be sort of going through this really important thing with the regular folk versus the Hollywood set?
I always consider myself to hang out more with the regular folk. I have a hard time being friends with celebrities at all. I don't know why, but through the course of my time out here, I'd just much rather, sit outside with the crew than to sit next to my co-star. Always. Even when people try to, we should hang out, you're so fun. Some other celebrities, I go, I can't get caught up in that circle. I mean, I'm not a party girl. I don't go in those scenes, I like the crew.
Well, I think that you're obviously a very real person, and that's one of the reasons why I think you connect with the mainstream audiences.
I hope so.
For
I
sure.
feel like I'm one of them, you know.
Coming up, Jenny tells us about meeting boyfriend Jim Carrey.
And I shook his hand and talked to him, and I was really amazed at how wonderful of a man he was.
And the latest chapter in Jenny's life.
I'm already so honest in the first one. Yeah. I go above and beyond. In that last one, you're just gonna go, no, she did it.
Welcome back to Close-Up's exclusive interview with Jenny McCarthy. I'm Madison Michelle. And you know, I have to confess, I'm a huge fan of the actress and author. In fact, I absolutely loved her book on pregnancy. So when I got the chance to meet Jenny, I just had to let her know how I felt. I was a huge fan of Belly Laughs. 2 girlfriends gave it to me when I became pregnant. I read it in like a night. Let's talk about your 3 books.
You know, this all came about by surprise. I never thought in a million years I'd be a writer. In school, I mean, I just was not very good at it because I had a very raw way of saying things. Like even my teacher would be like, Shakespeare didn't talk like this, Jenny. So by the time I had my baby, I came home from the hospital and was so bored because I had a C-section, so I had to kind of, you know, sit around a lot. And I thought, you know, why not write a book that tells the truth? Because I couldn't believe there wasn't one that told me of the things that took place. I started writing, and I couldn't stop. And then after, I had no idea what the success was going to be like. I just kind of went out there and said, here, ladies. And now it's become a little bit of a pregnancy Bible, and I'm so grateful.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It was really because of the women that have read it that chased me down in malls, these pregnant women going, you have to write the follow-up. You have to write about the first year. So I sat down and wrote that one. And after that, I wrote Life Laughs, which I still believe is my funniest one out of the 3.
I'm gonna go get it and read it.
I hope so.
I'm gonna give
You'll
the
agree.
2.